What's up, VC? My name is Bobby, and it's time for another episode of Spins and Finds and Whatever. I think we're on episode number 14, I believe. It's a new year, and over the last few weeks, over the second half of December, I really kind of went nutty on vinyl purchases. I've got so many. In fact, I'm going to be dividing it up into two videos here because I just got too many. There's a couple reasons for that. I had a little more time off because work is a little bit slower in December, and one day in particular I kind of treated myself to a day of vinyl shopping in the city, and two, Boxing Day and Boxing Week sales. There were some awesome ones at the record stores in the area, and I kind of took full advantage of that, and I'll be telling you about that probably in the next video. Probably won't get to those in this one, but anyways. So I'm just going to start showing you what I have, what I've spun, what I've picked up, and I'll do it for about 20 minutes, and then we'll stop it there. I'll film another one and have another one up in a few more days. So I'm going to start off with a few things I've had for a while, but I spun. Derek Higgins, in his video a few videos ago, was featuring a lot of Chick Corea, put me in the mood for a little chick. And so I pulled out this one, Crystal Silence, Chick Corea and Gary Burton. This is, I usually take these, okay. Anyways, I usually take these out of the plastic for my vinyl videos. Forgot to do it today. That's okay. So this is a pretty chilled out release. This, of course, is a Japanese pressing, as you can tell. It's got the Obi strip on there. Came out in 1973 on the ECM label. And mostly just Chick Corea on piano, Gary Burton on vibes. It's a 70s album, but I feel it's got a bit of a 60s sound to it. And here it is. It's a Japanese pressing, so the center label's a little bit different there. It's on yellow as opposed to, I guess, white or blue, what you get around here. It sounds really great, though. Japanese pressings don't always sound as good as their reputation would lead you to believe, but this one sounds quite good. It's also got the inner sleeve as well in Japanese, showing some of the other releases on ECM. Just a beautiful, chilled out album. Not my favorite Chick Corea, but certainly not, there's nothing wrong with it either. So that was great. So I spun a little Crystal Silence. Also, there was a day a couple weeks ago where I was feeling really stressed out, and I have a pile. I don't know why, no real reason, but I was. And so I have a few albums that I go to when I'm feeling stressed, and this is one of them. This is Paul Desmond's Bridge Over Troubled Water. Paul Desmond is a horn player, flute player, and clarinet, and so on. He known primarily for his work with Dave Brubeck. But this here is a wonderful album on A&M. And first of all, to chill yourself out, I mean, first of all, look at that cover. How can you be stressed out when you got that cover? Eh? There's a picture of Paul there. And yeah, basically it's covers of Simon and Garfunkel songs, bordering on elevator music almost. And you might be thinking, okay, do I really need mellower versions of Simon and Garfunkel songs? Well, if you're stressed out, yeah, you do. Because these songs are amazing. In fact, this album here, I would describe it as cleansing. It's a cleansing release. Just beautiful. And a lot of these songs work well with a jazz treatment. Herbie Hancock plays on this as well. He's got some orchestral backing on a couple of the songs too. Feeling groovy. The orchestra's out of control, baby. But good stuff. Bridge Over Troubled Water, Paul Desmond. And then I also gave these albums a spin. It's the two albums by Earth Opera, the only albums they ever released. Earth Opera, featuring Peter Rowan on vocals and guitar, and Dave Grisman. He's come up a number of times in my videos, hasn't he? So this is their debut album. This is a first American pressing. And, you know, this psych rock, sort of, with tinges of folk and jazz. and country. In fact, the country is heavier on the second album. I wanted to give these another listen because I've spun them a few times and they don't really change my life. But I wanted to give them another chance, so I gave them both a spin. This is okay. It's nothing to write home about, but it does redeem itself with the last cut. Death by Fire is an awesome psychedelic rock song. And this is one of those annoying Unipack jobbies where the record comes out of the center here. It is on Elektra, the Elektra label. So not a bad debut album. It's a little bit schmaltzy in parts, kind of like kind of like that Baroque pop that sometimes I like, but sometimes it's a bit too corny for me, almost vaudevillian in places. But it's not a bad album. I think I like it more now than I did originally. But this is their second album. This is a later pressing, as you can see, on a reissue from it's got to be only a few years ago on 180 gram vinyl. Red Elektra. And this one, it's not as psychedelic. It's a little more straight ahead country rock. But the highlight on this is they really do jam out on the American Eagle Tragedy, the first song on side 2. And it's a pretty steady jam. Sounds awesome. It's easily the best song on both of the albums. And I would say this album, even though it's a little less psychedelic, it's more it's a better album than their first one, I think. So that's that. Those are the only 2 albums they ever released. And of course, Dave Grisman in particular went on to do a lot of other kind of cool things. He plays the mandolin and the mandocello on these, as well as piano, alto saxophone, some of the vocals. Really good, or pretty good stuff. But the song American Eagle Tragedy is really good. All right, so those are albums I've had for a while. The free box, the giant free box, which continues to expand, by the way. I just keep getting more free records here, but anyways, whatever. It's been a good, free's my favorite price to pay. So so here's some of the other freebies that I have cleaned up and spun. Jethro Tull's debut album. Jethro Tull's interesting. When I was first getting into progressive rock, I really ate up a lot of his stuff, particularly from the 70s and the ones that everybody knows. But some of that stuff has kind of grown weary for me. The later stuff in particular, I'm just realizing over the last 10 years or so, it's not really that good. And it's brought me back to their early album. And this album's awesome. Progressive in places, but definitely a little more psychedelic. I would call this psych rock before I'd call it prog. But it's pretty awesome. The instrumentals in particular are really good. This is an early Canadian pressing on Reprise. I don't think it's a first pressing or anything, but I think it's an early one. And a bit of surface noise on here. It doesn't sound perfect, but yeah, I really enjoyed that quite a bit. So, and really nice cover there too. Really good shape. So that's Jethro Tull's first album. I also picked up Bob Dylan, in the free pile. There's another Bob Dylan album filling another gap in my Bob Dylan collection. A few videos ago, I spent my time sort of defending Bob Dylan's voice, saying that it's not as bad as people say it is. This album, it's pretty bad. He isn't really trying very hard on this one, I don't think. It's a live album. It still sounds great, though. Whatever. I love Bob Dylan, especially, earlier Bob Dylan. This is, a live album. Contains a number of his hits. It's not, it must be a later pressing. It's just on normal Columbia there. Shelter from the Storm, You're a Big Girl Now, Idiot Wind, Stuck Inside a Mobile with the Memphis Blues again. A lot of the classics. But, yeah, that's an album I've never been compelled to buy, but in the free pile it was there, and it sounded good. Nice clean pressing, too. Sounds really nice. Yeah, so Bobby Dylan, Hard Rain. It's a hard. This is good. I was happy to get this in the free pile. Neil Young, After the Gold Rush. My favorite album by him, actually. I know it's kind of a cliche to say that. Well, no, Harvest is probably the biggest cliche, but it doesn't matter because both those albums deserve to be in everybody's top 5. But really clean copy. This is a first Canadian pressing on Reprise, Black Reprise, and it's really nice to get a copy of this. I've already had this album on a latter day reissue, 180 gram reissue, and it sounds okay, but you know how those latter day reissues are. They don't always sound as great as they look. So this was really neat to get and in really good shape. I would give this a VG plus condition for sure. So that was cool. And another one in the free box. Alright, and another one in the free box was an upgrade copy for me of the Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. I already had this one. This is exactly the same pressing as the one I got, which I think might actually be a club pressing. But it sounds fine. It's in minty shape. There. I love that center label. Everybody knows this album. It's a good one. Here's the inner sleeve. Still intact. And the record. Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. I don't have to say too much about that. Everybody knows that album. It's not one you got to pay a lot of money for. You can find it for a good price pretty much everywhere. I forget what I paid. I probably paid $5 or something for the one I had, but it ended up having a lot of surface noise. So getting this one for free in better shape is kind of nice, and I could part ways with the other one. I was also very happy to get this one in the free pile. Nancy Sinatra's How Does That Grab Ya? I love Nancy Sinatra. She's just, she's such a product of the times. She's, the music is just awesome. Her work with Lee Hazelwood is wonderful. This is a first mono pressing, Canadian, I believe. Yes, first Canadian mono pressing on Blue Reprise. And, some solid songs on there. A little bit of surface noise, VG. I would say VG minus shape, but certainly not bad at all. The way they made records back then. The quality is great. So very, very happy to add that one to the collection. So those were some of the freebies that I cleaned and spun. A few more of the Value Village pickups. I told you last video or a couple videos ago that I actually found good stuff at the Value Village. Well, here's some more that I found. Belle and Sebastian. Who finds Belle and Sebastian at the Value Village? Who has two thumbs and finds Belle and Sebastian at Value Village? This guy right here. This is cool. It's a 12-inch single of their song I'm Waking Up to You. I always love the covers to their albums. This is awesome. It's on the Matador label. And it is also in minty shape. Yeah, really good. Doing the minty for the fat bearded man who talks about vinyl there, Headley, because he kind of got mad at me for doing it before because apparently he does it now when nobody's looking. Like in fact, from what I understand, he said that every single time he picks up a record in mint condition, he shouts out, "Minty, minty," at the top of his lungs, and it's very embarrassing for him, and so he got mad at me for doing that. But anyways, this was very minty, and I like the song I'm Waking Up to Us. On side B, it's got the song Marks and Engels, but the highlight for me is the song I Love My Car. That's just a great Belle and Sebastian tune. 2001? Something like that? Yeah, so really excited to find that at the Value Village. $2. Also at the Value Village, I told you that I found an album by Gerry Mulligan. I also found this album by the Dave Brubeck Quartet featuring Gerry Mulligan. This is the last set at Newport. There's Jerry Mulligan and his crazy beard. This was also in unbelievable shape. I couldn't believe I found it. It's on Atlantic, and there's nothing to indicate that this is a reissue, but the record feels like a reissue, but I don't think it is. I think it's just on really good quality vinyl. So look at that there. Really, really good shape. Also in minty shape and near mint. Whoever had it before me had it in really good shape. So I was very excited to find that. You know what? Just finding that in the Bell and Sebastian at Value Village was enough for me. But really good album. Highly recommended. 1972, I believe, is when this came out. Always. Dave Brubeck's one that I always pick up. His stuff never disappoints. I got this at the Value Village also. An amazing album. Procol Harum's second album, I believe. Shine On Brightly. This psych rock, but with a touch of prog. In fact, this is considered sort of an early example of progressive rock. Yeah, just an outstanding album that I really enjoyed. It also was in quite good shape, also on the Tan A&M label. VG shape. There's a song on here, the Inheld 'Twas in I. 18 minutes of sonic bliss. That title, that sounds like a Van der Graaf Generator album title more than anything, but yeah, that was a great find too. I really enjoyed this album a lot. I thought that was great. So, $2 at Value Village. And then also at the Value Village, Murray McLaughlin, Song from the Street. He is a Canadian folk artist from the 60s and 70s. He's still doing stuff today. This was an okay album. It wasn't in the best shape. Quite a bit of surface noise, but still pretty good. It's another one of those irritating Unipack albums on the True North label. I saw Murray McLaughlin in concert a few years back. It was kind of a songwriter circle thing. In fact, I'll show you another album I got at Value Village at the same time is this one here, Ian Thomas. The album is The Runner. Ian Thomas had a few hits in the 70s. He had that song that everybody thought was Neil Young, the one Painted Ladies. That's a great song. He also had that other kind of just like Greta Garbo pulls up in the limousine. You know that one? Kind of a schmaltzy yacht rock type song, but it's also really good. This album's not that good. It's 80s and it really sounds like the 80s. I mean, look at the way he's standing there. You could tell he's sort of contemplating. He's already regretting the decision to make this album. Ian Thomas, his brother is Dave Thomas from SCTV, Bob and Doug McKenzie, you know. Ian Thomas was very funny too. So the songwriter concert that I saw several years ago, it featured him, Murray McLaughlin, blues artist David Wilcox, and Rick Emmett from Triumph, Canadian rock band. And I won't get into long stories or anything, but it was a great show. And Ian Thomas in particular, he's as funny as his brother. He could have gone that route if he didn't go the music route. If the rock and roll didn't work out for him, he could have easily joined his brother on SCTV or something. But anyways, I had a very long and boring story that I was going to share. Well, it's mildly entertaining to me, but anyways, after I kind of thought about it, I thought, hey, it might not be that interesting. Oh, hey, and this album here, this Murray McLaughlin album, on the back, it's kind of neat here on the bottom. It says, anyone knowing of a 49 to 51 Mercury in reasonable condition, please write. I thought that was kind of funny. So that's good. Also at the Value Village, they had about every Van Morrison album you could possibly imagine there. And this album was there too. Van Morrison's Beautiful Vision. All their Van Morrison albums, they had a ton of them there, and I would have snatched them all, but they were all in pretty bad shape. This is the only one that was in good shape, so that's why I took it. I had never heard this one before. This is early 80s, 1982. I thought for $2, and it's in pretty good shape, so I thought I would grab it on the Warner Brothers label there. And I liked it. You know, by no means his best album, but certainly not his worst. It kind of takes him back to his Celtic roots there. It's a Celtic release. But yeah, really good. I enjoyed that. So that's Van Morrison's Beautiful Vision. So I guess I'll stop there. That's the 20-minute mark. We're just getting to the good stuff though. So those were pretty interesting. But the next video, and perhaps the next one, if it ends up being 3 videos, is going to be even better. Very 60s centric. The next couple videos are going to be very, very 60s centric. So I hope you enjoy them. But anyways, we'll talk to you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.